Good evening, my friends. I'm going to read a tweet that I wrote today, and I want you all to think about this. This is my perspective. It may not be shared by anyone else, but if it's shared by you, I want you to know this is how I feel. As someone who's fought for modern monetary theory for years, as a lay person, as just one of you, just a common man, I came to realize that the reason why this mattered in my life had nothing to do with, economics, really. It had everything to do with the times and the tribulations and the desperation that I personally felt over the years. Things that were dramatically wrong in my life and are still wrong to this day. And I couldn't quite understand how it could possibly be that I could be the one so screwed up, having tried so hard to do so many of the things they always tell you to do. And yet here I was. So here's what I found, and you all tell me if you believe this or not. I'm going to go ahead and read right now. I said, I'm going to put this up so you get the impression. So the thing that makes modern monetary theory so vital, ending actual suffering, apparently renders those suffering the effects of bad economic mysticism absolutely marginalized, because pain is crass. Yet pain is the most real connection to the abstract possible to even imagine. Folks, this is editorial to my own editorial. When people are in pain, they don't watch their words. They don't watch their tone. They don't watch all these frivolities that make other people feel more comfortable. They're speaking their heart. They're speaking their pain. They're speaking that real fine line between losing it and trying to keep it together. Without a real cause and effect branded into the consciousness of the people, an abstract war will only resonate with a plucky band of people given to such academic musings. Freezing to death in the winter? Yeah, that's real. Austerity did that. That is deficit reduction. Deficit reduction did that. Think about this. I'm trying to show you the real cause and effect of what these things do. When you take money out of the economy, it hurts the poor the most. When you reduce the deficit, that means you're reducing the money in circulation, reducing private savings, hurting the common man. Anyway, dying from a lack of accessible health care because neoliberalism demands our lives have a price on them? Yes, you have crossed the threshold into violence, and that violence is economic in nature. Some might even be bold enough to call it what it is: murder. Murder by policy. School to prison pipeline, generational poverty, a feature, not a bug. How else could centrists and the bourgeoisie measure their greatness? The gap, the whole gap, and nothing but the gap. Have you ever seen a hungry child? I mean, really hungry. Have you ever seen a hungry child attempt to focus on learning algebra? Have you ever felt the scorching shame of destitution? You know, that feeling that you get when people are looking down their nose at you like you should have made better choices? Those people, that's what I'm talking about. The bloody judgment, the dark thoughts, the hate and despair, the hopelessness. That's what MMT does for me. It cleanses that stuff out because it gives me an avenue. It gives me a beeline to the finish line. It shows me where the solution lies. The husband and wife fighting constantly as bills mount and a collection calls pour in. The kids panic as the worry the family will dissipate, that they are the fucking cause. Imagine being a child. You're watching your mom and dad fight. Many of you have probably been through this. And there is the child sitting there wondering if it's their fault, if they're the cause of this. And then they've got to take that to school. And then they've got to take that when they're doing their homework. And the husband and wife go to work and they're feeling like shit about themselves. And that carries on and carries on and carries on. Neoliberalism kills. It is a mental illness. And that, to me, is what MMT solves. It shows the light on the lies we've been told, and it allows us to see these very real world things. These very, very real world things that people go through on a daily basis. It's not some academic thing, although it is. But to me, it's the difference between life and death, between trying to pursue greater things and just finding a tree limb to hang from. Forget something as cataclysmic, near and present, and game over as climate change, which is far too abstract, unfortunately, for the common man and woman living hand to mouth to even give a rat's ass about as they shiver, seek shelter, and starve. Folks, you can't even worry about the parts per million when you don't know where you're going to have a roof over your head or not. I showed a video one night where there was some homeless people in Alabama on the coldest night of the year, and they were in a loading dock. And one of the other homeless people, you know, as the guy is dying, there's a guy dying, he's literally falling down. The guy captures him. And instead of trying to save him, because the guy's dead as far as he's concerned, he rifles through his pockets, trying to find anything of value as this guy is going down to die. That's real life. That's the part that the really clean gentleman's club of MMT doesn't always get clear. You don't always see this tie-in, that is austerity. That is deficit reduction. That, my friends, is the government not doing its job. The real power of MMT message is hope, a real weapon to fight back against oppression. Not some technocratic operational diagram, not some highbrow dissertation, although those are good. It's about life and death. And until the people get that, the hope of MMT will not be embraced by the world. Folks, this is life and death. It really is. All the things you're complaining about with healthcare, with student debt, with the planet and green energy, poison waters, poison air, you name it. Generational poverty, prison, school to prison pipeline, the drug war. It's all baked into the system, and it's all there to be fixed once we understand the power of MMT and our sovereign currency. Sadly, the people who desperately need the help today don't have the luxury of fancy language and gentlemen's rules of the duel. It's fight or flight, kill or be killed, dog eat dog. The stakes are high. The solution is simple. Learn MMT, each one teach one, but keep it real. And I say that because I'm not sure everybody fully understands. They're just like, vote blue, do this, do that. They just send you off to do these things. There's no rhyme or reason to it. It's like, oh, who else is going to win? It's not about that. Not for me. Because what happens when a Democrat gets elected after we've voted blue? The Democrat is now off limits by those people that pushed us to vote blue. Well, what do you want, a Republican? No, it's not binary. Stop making it that way. Don't insult my intelligence ever again, by the way. I want to talk about these issues. And if your preferred candidate, vote blue, vote green, vote whoever, doesn't get this stuff, they're condemning that guy to death The one that I was talking about in the loading dock in Alabama. How do we have conversations with people that only respond with vote a color? Vote green, vote blue. If you just vote blue, they're not willing to push back against their party. They're not willing to speak out. They're not willing to be effective agents for the people. They only say vote blue. What do you want, Trump? That is intellectually dishonest bullshit. And it doesn't help a soul. We keep getting the same garbage neoliberal candidates because of that entire scenario. Now, look, I'm not here to tell you who to vote for. I'm not here to campaign for anybody. I'm not here to tell you what to do and what not to do. What I'm telling you is modern monetary theory is the way our system works today. It's not the way it's used today. It's being used exactly. MMT doesn't have a conscience per se. MMT, though, with the academics that are working it to build the body of knowledge, these folks are good, solid lefties. Bill Mitchell wrote Reclaiming the State, and it's all about destroying neoliberalism. Stephanie Kelton has been Bernie Sanders' advisor and is up there fighting for a New Deal, advising new candidates. And people are just like, vote blue. But what happens when the vote blue says they want to reduce the deficit? What happens when the vote blue wants to do pay-go? Do you understand what I'm saying? If you don't pay attention, if all you say is vote blue, you have condemned people. You've hurt people. For real, listen to me. I'm pleading with you to hear me. Stop saying it. Have real conversations with people. Learn this stuff, because you're not going to get a good blue candidate or a good green candidate or a good independent candidate to represent us, the people, we the people, in Congress, if you don't take the time to do the hard work. And saying vote blue isn't an answer to the problems I laid out in that read. I lose all sense of hope when I hear people say just vote blue. Not because they won't vote blue or will vote blue, but because it's a shutdown conversation. It means they don't care what you're saying. It's just vote blue. It's like Napoleon Dynamite. Vote for Summer. Vote for Pedro. There is no legitimate conversation there. The real problems are not being addressed. Just going along to get along because that's what we do is not getting it done either. Folks, as a person that loves this movement, as a person that is suffering mightily from the just vote blue people and the herd mentality that we have been decimated with as people, instead of fighting for the right candidates, we just vote blue. Instead of fighting for quality candidates, holding these people accountable, and they have not done this. They have failed. Vote blue, but then we're not going to hold them accountable. Folks, I'm telling you as somebody who is suffering now, right this minute. And as somebody who watches other people suffer, who has seen people laying in bed with a needle in their arm, dead and purple. I'm telling you as somebody who's been around poverty and has seen people getting angry, watching these highbrow people get angry at the poor African-American kid that came to school bouncing off walls, but they were pushed through generational poverty and the friggin' school to prison pipeline well established. And the people don't take time to figure out what's going on. They just say, vote blue. That doesn't solve anything. And then when their next candidate comes out there and offers something that sounds remotely good, they're just like, vote blue. They're not doing the hard work. And it's really not that hard. It just takes an interest in caring enough about people to do more than say, vote blue, vote green. Green power rising, vote blue, blue wave. Each candidate is not a team sport. Each candidate stands on their own merits, whether they be blue, green, yellow, or red. And if they don't understand economics, it doesn't matter what the letter in front of their name is. They're going to harm you. They're going to harm me. They're going to harm my son. They're going to harm my other children. They're not going to take care of climate change. They're not going to take care of the poor because they don't know how to. Stop trying to shut people down that do know how to do this and start listening and paying attention, processing it, and taking action with it. It's extremely important that you realize that MMT, modern monetary theory, is a description of how our system works today. When you reduce the public deficit, which is the freaking federal government that creates currency out of thin air, when you reduce its deficit, you screw up. You create a problem for the people. And if you don't know that, and you say, just vote blue for somebody who does the wrong thing, let me ask you, do you think you have a hand to play in the people dying? Just ask them for a friend. If you're advancing those people and you're just shutting people down that are fighting for this truth, and you're just saying, vote blue, do you think you have a hand in the suffering? Are you playing a part in fixing that? Seriously, I'm asking a question. I hope you'll think about this in your own private time when you're quiet and you're sitting there bouncing your kids on your knee, or maybe looking at somebody else bouncing their kid on their knee, and you're wondering, when I say vote blue without talking about the real issues, or vote green without actually learning economics, did I really harm someone accidentally? Am I guilty? Did I screw up? I want you to think about it really long and hard. Because for us, we've got to associate, we got to see the direct impacts of reducing the deficit and reducing the debt and worrying about all this silly nonsense. Because right now, as we speak, the GOP is getting ready to try to cut all entitlements. They're going after Social Security and Medicare. Why is that? Because progressives never took the time to learn that there is no issue with money supply. Taxes literally do not pay for spending. So while they're fighting games chasing tax dollars, the GOP is busy taking away vital services. And you could say that just vote blue, vote green. That color-based voting thing plays a large role in why we end up stuck here, because we never take the time to address the issues head on. Until you understand the economic game, which is what everything is about. I'm telling you, you say follow the money. You know, for those folks out there worried about Julian Assange, he's talking about following the money, but you're talking about the payola money. I'm saying learn where the money starts, since it's not the Federal Reserve, Rothschild conspiracy theory. It's Congress. It's Congress. And until you understand the way this game works, and you stop pretending like we've run out of pieces of paper or we've run out of keystrokes and that we need more taxes taken from people to create more keystrokes, until you stop saying that stuff, until you stop propping up candidates that say the stuff, until you really become revolutionary about this stuff, there can be no change, and the people will continue to suffer. The people will continue to suffer. I want you all to see this. This is a letter that I got from a subscriber who it really touched my heart. And I felt like this was just an incredibly nice letter. He says, I hope that the Progressive Party and movement continues. Best wishes to you and your family, Steve. You know, when you see people care, you know, they're dedicated and they want to do what they can do. I just really want to put this out there for my friend Michael Florog. He really took the time to write this by hand, and my face was soaking wet, because this is what reality is. It's people. It's not just vote blue or vote green. It's people. And it's like, what is serving the people? And if you're not actively fighting to get the right candidates elected, and I'm talking about during the primaries as well as anything else, if you're not spending time teaching people, you're not helping them. And here's a gentleman that recognizes the hard work we do, because we get bludgeoned a lot by people that don't understand. And I understand there's a point in time where people have to figure this out on their own. We present the information, they have to do something with it. But here's the deal, folks. This is what vote blue no matter who does. And at some point in time, we the people need to realize, we really need to realize, regardless of whether you vote blue or not, this is not a matter of not voting blue or voting green or anything else. This is a matter of teaching people so we have the right candidates. So we have the right candidates. I don't vote for colors. I vote for candidates. And if those candidates are terrible, I make different decisions. I don't just go vote blue, vote for Summer. And remember this. You want to talk about crime. You want to talk about destruction. You want to talk about why Donald Trump even came to power. This is what happened right here, my friends. This is what happened right here. You take away everything from people. You take away their hope. You take away the promise of a better tomorrow. You take away the possibility of ever being a part of the American dream. And what you have is a really, really dangerous situation. I'm Steve Grumbine with Real Progressives. Have a good day.